So you want to make sure you are your windows, and in our case, we are bracing it up against the, putting a 2x4 to brace it up against our fence that we have in the backyard. My husband just feels like that extra little bit of protection is needed this time. But make sure you have someone who is professional. He's a professional remodeler, so he knows what he's doing. So I am going to talk about how to get prepared for a hurricane. And if you are living in an area where the hurricanes are taking place, then I think this is something that is important and we need to talk about. I hear a lot of videos and TV stations talking about getting prepared. There is a National Hurricane Center website, and you'll want to visit that. They have a full checklist. Most of the stations, TV stations, should have a checklist of supplies that you need to have on hand during a hurricane, to be prepared for one, even a tropical storm. And so I wanted to just talk about that a little bit. And as someone who has lived in Florida my whole life, 61 years, been through hurricanes, so I know a thing or two about getting through them and how to be safe. And also we're going to talk about some slow stitching and how we can use our slow stitching to help us to stay calm and slow down and get through when we're dealing with these kinds of situations, natural disasters and whatever. So I'm Marsha. Thank you for joining me here today on my channel. I usually don't talk about these kinds of things. I might sprinkle them in a little bit here and there as far as, how I'm doing and things like of that sort. But I really thought that this would be something very beneficial. And so we're going to incorporate both of these today. So I just want to talk a little bit about if you are seeing all the devastation and wondering, how could that happen? Why did that happen? Why weren't the states prepared or people prepared or, things like that? And sad to say, with this kind of a situation, it's kind of like where a wildfire might get started. Nobody can predict that. People weren't prepared. How do you evacuate? What do you do? So most of the time now, which a lot of people I think are not aware of this too, you should have a go bag. So what is a go bag? A go bag is a backpack that you can fit on your person that holds your personal items. 2 or 3 changes of clothing, your medications, your personal care, first aid kit, 2 or 3 day supply of food, water. There's a whole list. You can also look that up online about an emergency go bag, what should be in it. So at any time, there can be civil unrest, there can be a natural disaster, just a number of things, unexpected, unpredictable events that can take place, and you might need to leave your home right away and get to another area for a number of reasons. If you have a go bag, you won't have to worry about at the last minute trying to grab stuff and get things together. You will already have it in that go bag, and all you need to do is go get your go bag. Maybe there's a few little last minute food items that you could put together, and that will save a huge amount of time and stress on you and your family. Every member of the family should have a go bag, so your children should individually have their own little backpack that fits their body size with all of their personal things, just like for the adults. Their food, their medicine, their clothing, all of those things. And then if they're smaller children, little small activities, a coloring book and a box of crayons. Doesn't have to be a lot, because technical things, technology, and all that, having batteries, don't worry about that. Just your hands-on types of things are your best friend during those times. Your slow stitching kits are perfect for that as well, for older children and adults to be able to do. But the coloring pages, the coloring books, those are very inexpensive. You can pick those up at the dollar store. A journal, and if an older child wants to write in their diary, even a book, if your child likes to read, a small book that can go in so that you can read it to them or they can have it to read. Sometimes if the electricity goes out, then you might just have candlelight, one of those battery-operated lanterns, things like that you could use to keep yourself entertained. And so I just want to sprinkle that in as I talk about my slow stitch kits and give you some hurricane preparedness tips as I go along. And if we started off this whole thing showing you us getting prepared by boarding up our windows. That's something that's very important to do, because you'll be surprised what kind of debris flies around during a storm of this magnitude, and tornadoes also spawn off of these hurricanes. And so a gust of wind or a mini tornado could bring in, pass by, and then just tree limbs coming through windows, or rocks, or items in a neighbor's yard. Any number of things. Like I'm saying, you would be surprised at what gets picked up by the wind and can become an object that could break a window. And if you're not certain on how to do that, where to put the wood, then you could Google that here on YouTube. But I don't want to start giving technical tips on that, but get with any kind of a home DIY person, handyman, call your local Home Depot, DIY stores, Lowe's, whatever's in your area, and ask them, and they will tell you professionally. My husband is professional at that, but I only know what he tells me and what I see him do. But like I said, I don't want to pass that kind of information on, but just get all of that information and know what you're doing before you start going and putting wood up and drilling holes into your home. And if you have a block home, you're going to need special screws for that versus if you have a frame home. And but just, like I said, just be mindful of that. And we have never taped our windows. Like you'll see people get that silver tape. I don't know if that's duct tape, and they'll put like an X shape on their window. We've never done that. We just board them up. That's always been sufficient. And okay, so check those hurricane preparedness lists. You want to have your water, sufficient water, purified bottled water, spring water, drinking water, and a gallon per person for at least a week. And your individual bottles of water, 16 ounces, 8 ounces. You want to have several cases of those on hand for all of hurricane season. So if you're in Florida, any of these other states that are coastal states, the Gulf, the East Coast, you want to make sure you have all of these things on hand. And just staying calm, being prepared is your best way to go. And if you're on the water, you definitely want to look into getting sandbags check with your local city. They a lot of times offer the sandbags for free. I know here in our city they used to do that, so you just have to check on that. And afterward, if you don't have electricity, there's always going to be options in your community. Here in the state of Florida, I know we're really good on that. So the Red Cross and other food banks will get together and they set up strategic points. You have to check on your local city. You can sign up for text messages on that, and you can also Google Florida government information on that. And we always have had no issue with that. We could easily get food, water, within a few minutes. You might wait 5 or 10 minutes in line in your vehicle, but that's the longest we ever had to wait. And in the recent years, things have gotten so streamlined and so smooth. The power companies in our area, they cut the trees, so they make sure no tree limbs are going to be falling on power lines. They do that way before hurricane season begins. If you're a homeowner, you want to make sure that you keep your trees trimmed that are near your home. And that's where a lot of deaths come in too, and injuries because of these trees falling on your home. And tying down any loose furniture outside, patio furniture, putting plants up against the house. We've never had a problem with that, and I have my whole gazebo, which we're going to find out how well my gazebo handles this storm. So you'll see, because you've seen my gazebo, and hopefully it will stay standing and the roof tiles will not come out. So this Hurricane Milton is going to definitely impact us from what I'm seeing as a hurricane, maybe Category 1 or 2, go across the whole state of Florida. I'm on the East Coast. It's going to come on at the West Coast, but we are almost parallel from Tampa, just a little curving up northeastward. But the width of the storm will definitely cover us. So let's talk about now how to stay calm during the storm. We know how to prepare for the storm now. You want to have all your comfort foods if you can eat snacks, but don't stuff yourself with snacks. You do want to eat good food. One last tip I'll share is that if you do lose electricity afterward, if you have a grill, don't open your freezer as very, very little as possible. And if you know you're going to be without power for quite a while, you just need to cook up all that food that you have in the freezer. Don't throw it away. And even if you have to share it with your neighbors, be a good neighbor and do that. We've done that many a times. So now let's move on to some slow stitch kits and how to stay calm during these kinds of events. And there's nothing to panic about. There's nothing to get worried about. It's just wind and rain. And the place you're sheltering in place will protect you. So this is one of my new Cozy Fall collections, my Bohemian style kits. And each of these is a 6x6. And the first one is already sold. This one here says be happy and with small things. So each one will have its own inspirational quote on it. And it's on a little fabric tile that I printed out. And they have a muslin backing, the batting, and then the fabric foundation top piece. This one has this netting, this really pretty rainbow colored variegated fiber, lace, a couple of pieces of lace, cheesecloth, a wood button, and then smaller pieces of collage fabric. And so this one is available in my Etsy shop. And then the next kit that I just added today is this cute, darling little kit. It's very a fun kit, kind of brings back your childhood memories if you have children or grandchildren, nieces or nephews. Anyone, this would be a darling page to just add into your soft book. So these are all beginner kits for slow stitching, hand sewing, embroidery. So these are perfect for practicing your embroidery on. They're a small enough project that you can complete doing fabric collaging, your embroidery on it, your slow stitching. And this particular kit has this cute little boot applique piece with a adhesive backing, you just peel off the paper and you can iron that on. The fiber, the lace, several collage cut pieces of fabric, the curtain lace, this cute vintage lace here, isn't that pretty? And then the wood button as well. And then another new kit that will be coming into the shop tomorrow is this precious little hand embroidered Pocket Friends collection. And so I embroidered this, and it's an iron-on pattern, and then I embroidered the outline of it. So this part right here is left for you to finish this up yourself. You could paint this with fabric paint, or you can do embroidery stitches. It's completely up to you. You could also cut little pieces of fabric and you could iron those on to this as well. So you could just put a solid piece of fabric across here. You wouldn't have to cut up all the little blocks. Completely up to you with your creative imagination. Paint it, stitch it, or cover it with one solid piece of fabric. Completely up to you. And then you could cut this out and use it as a embellishment, put adhesive backing onto it, but it will come with a piece of batting and the muslin backing fabric. So you could decide if you just want to use this as another beginner embroidery slow stitching practice piece. Perfectly up to you what you want to do with it. It's yours to do whatever you want to do with it. And so again, look at how darling this would be. A precious piece for a child's slow stitch book, just a whimsical piece to make a little story to go with this. I think this is just a precious little piece. So these are going to be new little kits, Pocket Friends, that are going to be coming to my shop, and this is the first in the collection with the little sheep up here and the bow and then the little pocket. Isn't it cute? I think it's so pretty. So, and then of course my new hexagon greeting cards collection. So those are in my shop. These are ones that I need to finish. And then I just need to add a sentiment to this collection here. So I'm thinking, let's see, I have count your blessings, not your trials. Gratitude and happiness, a priceless combo. Okay, let's see. Families that pray together, stay together. I don't know, maybe that would be a cute one to go right across here, and then that could fit right there on that pocket. I think I like that. Okay, so that's going to be the sentiment that goes with this kit. So I would love to know where you're watching me from, and do you have a go bag? Are you prepared for emergencies? If you needed to leave, would you have things ready and in place, or do you need to get one and put it together? So as we learned from the fires in California, how important it is to have those and how thankful people were to know about that already. So I would love to know if you have those already in place, and how did you learn about it? How did you know to get one and have it put together? We learned that through our congregation, and we have a lot of loving support that way in our religion, and the congregation elders check on us, and when there's storms like this, they check on us before, and my husband helps in that regard as well, and then we check on our congregation members afterward and make sure everybody got through the storm okay. So that's something that is really important. You should have a network of friends in your area and family that you connect with and you contact and let them know before the storm what's coming, and then when you get through it, contact them again so that officials can be aware of if you are needing something where in your area and you can't somebody can't get to you or you can't get out of your home. Those things are very important. So that kind of information you should be letting people know about. So that is what I wanted to talk about today, and just let people know to stay calm during these storms. Protect yourself, prepare yourself. One last tip is after the hurricanes, don't run right out and rush out and think that everything is calm and everything is safe. A lot of deaths and injuries occur after the hurricanes because of that reason. You think it's past. And especially if there's any standing water, please have galoshes, some kind of a waterproof protective shoe or boot on. Do not wade in the water because there's oil and sewage and gas and all kinds of things. You would just be surprised. Garbage that gets in the water, so you want to have on protective shoes. Do not allow children to run out and play in that kind of water afterward. There could be down power lines, snakes, all kinds of things, like I'm saying, that glass, broken glass, and you see it and hear it all the time too on the news. But don't drive through any standing water because it's very deceptive. There could be a hole, there could be a down power line, and things can change very quickly in standing water. So I just hope that everyone will stay safe during this storm, and I'll check back with you on Thursday or Friday after the storm has passed and give you an update on our situation and how we weathered it. And so thank you for everyone who is being so kind and supportive and checking on us already. And we're praying for everybody as well. So let's stay safe during the rest of this hurricane season and keep calm and slow stitching on and slow living and stay safe. Keep creating in the sunshine, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.